Hi, this is Josh with Eagle Eye Power Solutions, and today we're going to introduce you to the LB50-750. It's one of our new welding load banks. We have two new models in the welding load bank series. We're going to be taking a look at the 750 amp model today. We do have a smaller 350 amp model that's going to pretty much operate in the same manner as what we'll show you today, but obviously those are two options depending on your needs. So this is going to be a AC or DC rated welding load bank. So it's going to be used for testing, troubleshooting, calibration, or any type of load testing you need to do on your welding systems. And it's going to be rated for up to 50 volts, DC or AC. So you can apply your load up to 750 amps. At anywhere, from 0 to 50 volts. We can take a look at the front of the unit here. On the bottom of the unit, you're going to have some nice large wheels with locks on them. We can come here to our wiring compartment. If you flip this open, you'll have access to your main load cable terminals. So you have a main positive and negative bus bar here, and you have a 120 volt AC power cord here. That's going to be your standard power, and that comes with it. Then you can see there is also a voltage sampling fuse in line here for the voltage meter. And continuing on to the front display, you can see there's two meters here. The top one's a voltage meter, the bottom one's a current meter. So you can do some sampling through there, and that will show your readings throughout the test. You have two load selector switches. One's going to do the larger amperage ranges, and then the top one here is more of a fine tuning, but you can do any 25 amp increment up to 750 amps. And you can see here there's a overall power switch, a fault light if there's any fault conditions, and we have a fan power supply button. So that's what the interface looks like. So we'll go ahead and get our welder up and running, and we'll show a quick demonstration. Okay, so we have our load bank connected here and powered on now. I just hit the power switch here. You're going to want to double check your terminations with the load cables, make sure they're tight and correct polarity on the load bank side. And then you can go ahead and, depending on what welder you have, connect and configure to the welder as well. Once you're all set and you're ready for your testing, you're going to hit this fan power supply switch. That's going to kick the fans on and allow it to load, and then you're going to select your load with the two load switches here. You're going to want to make sure you have enough space around the unit, at least about 3 to 5 feet away from the ventilation. So it is going to ventilate out the back of the unit with the fans. So just make sure you have some space there. It's going to generate some heat when you start your load, and you want to be safely dissipating that hot air. But once you're all set, you can make a selection, and then you can engage your load from the welding source. So I'm just going to, as an example, I'm going to hit some selection switches here. Let's set it to 200 amps on the main switch here, and then I'll set it to an additional 100. Now you can see there's up to 750 amps total, just based on the combination of your switches. So just kind of showing you how those operate. But you'll notice nothing's happened yet, but it is ready for those resistors to be applied. So I'm going to hit the fan power supply on, and it's going to kick on. You'll notice whatever's connected on the welding side is going to show up on your meters. Currently, nothing is active on the welder, so we're going to, again, select the switches here and then activate on the welder. Okay, so we have our welding output set up, and I just turned on the output. And just for demonstration today, we just set up a basic output at 30 volts. You'll want to set this accordingly to whatever kind of test you're doing. But for today's purpose, you can see if we come over on the load bank side, so my selector switches it's going to be the combination of both of them. So if I have 200 and 100 set, it would be a total of 300. Keep in mind it's going to derate according to Ohm's law, so that's why what you're seeing is about 178 amps. Approximately 180 amps would be expected because we're at 30 volts out of the total 50 that you can maximize to. So that's kind of why you're seeing approximately 180 amps. So at this point, you'd be able to go throughout your testing, adjust the load as needed, adjust your welder as needed, obviously depending on what type of test you're doing. Once you're all said and done, you can disengage the load and you can let the fans run for a couple of minutes to let the heat dissipate, and then once everything is safely shut down, you let the heat dissipate. That's when you can turn it off and you know, it'll be ready for another test. So once you're finished with your testing, you can disengage the load from the welder. You can also disengage it from the low bank side. So I can safely turn these switches down. You'll see our current will ramp down. And it's no longer engaged on the load bank side. You would go ahead and turn off your welder. And then you can let the heat dissipate for a few minutes, make sure everything's shutting off properly, and then you can go ahead and shut down and disconnect.